Hello, welcome to today's broadcast on one question. Here's the question, here's why we get to it, and here's what you can take away from it. The one question is, how would you like someone to feel if they have just walked up to you and sat next to you? And that's all. Why am I talking about this? Why am I giving you this metaphysical question in the middle of your Thursday morning? Here's what's going on. We know that there are four main types of energies that people talk about when you're working, and that we know that any of them can be depleted. And we've talked about these in previous broadcasts. They're physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, and spiritual energy. And we are just getting a note that one of you may not be seeing this because of the broadcast, but here we go. It looks like you're connected again. All right, so let me start that part again. We know that there are four types of energy that most people talk about: physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, and spiritual energy. And you know that any of those can be depleted. You can get a great workout, and that's work really tired you out. You can have a really stimulating discussion, and that's worked your mental energy. You being in front of Zoom can work your mental energy or your emotional energy. You know that when you've had a really tough emotional discussion, that can drain momentarily, not permanently, but that can drain your emotional energy. But I want to talk today about one of the energies that we speak about the least frequently, which is spiritual energy. What does that even mean? It doesn't necessarily mean religion or spirituality. It can, but it actually more means what is the core of yourself and what matters to you. So spiritual energy can also refer to, in a sense, doing what's right and what's wrong. So almost like moral energy. It's often used, spiritual energy, used to refer to your own work ethic. How much do you want to do something? How much do you feel that you can do something? So within the context of spiritual energy, and even beyond that, let me just talk about three words that I think fit it, which are work ethic, your presence, and your moral energy. So within that, presence. Presence is you right now looking at me, and me figuratively looking at you. And within that, what do we know about each other? You're seeing me maybe for the first time. So I want to bring you to a question that's used by people like me, facilitators of large group in-person meetings. And I was the recipient of this a number of years ago. In a workshop that I was in, the person leading the workshop said, now we're going to go out and do this exercise. Everybody pair up with somebody, look across the room, match up with somebody, and go for a walk. As you're going for a walk, stay silent. So stay silent, find a place to sit, then sit next to that person and notice how you feel when you're sitting next to that person. And afterwards, ask that person what that person learned about you from sitting next to you. So again, in the middle of this wild and busy Thursday, I want to bring you this as a possible question, as a question about your presence. How would it be if someone whom you didn't know actually came over? And I know this is not in the time of us sitting next to each other at all. We're all keeping our distance. But if someone were and they sat next to you, how would they feel? What, in a sense, vibes do you give off even when you're not thinking about giving off vibes? And I'll put this in the context of something that you've heard us talk about here before, which is something that Margaret Greenberg emphasizes a lot, which is that a leader needs to know what to do, what to know, and how to be. And one of those always gets the short shrift, and that's the how to be. People just sort of discount it and say, I know how to be, I'm myself. So within the context of do, be, and know, and that be component, how do you want to be? Even recently, a colleague of mine has switched careers to a different role, a senior role. And let's call my colleague Joe. I use that for most people that I know to keep it anonymous. And Joe is going into a senior leadership role. One of the questions that I ask Joe as a friend is, how do you want to be? The first time you meet these new colleagues of yours, how do you want to be? And you can think about things like competent, confident, welcoming, open. So my one question to you today, as we are meeting here, is if someone were to sit next to you, how would you want them to feel? after spending a few moments sitting next to you? And I won't put them up on the screen this time because it's a more personal question, but I'll read off some of the comments. Some of you are saying, right now, my neighbor sitting next to me would feel anxiousness from me. And oh my gosh, how normal is that? I want to normalize what you're saying. That is so true. That a lot of us are feeling that, or maybe feeling that at this point of the day, but not that point of the day. And that's true. And do you want to keep that going? Is there a way that you could look at the other side of that? Oh my gosh, thank you. So the same person is replying, I would want them to feel calm and comfortable. So how would you need to be in the moment so that a person sitting next to you would feel calm and comfortable? How would you need to be? I wonder what's on your mind. You may need to be calm and comfortable yourself. You may need to be just quiet for a moment. You may need to listen with your body. This person so thank you so much. I feel like I'm having this discussion with you. I'm not going to put your name up just because these are more personal questions, but you would need to feel that way too. You would need to feel more calm and comfortable, camaraderie. Yes. So I'll summarize what we've talked about. We know that there are 4 types of energies, all of which can drain and also all of which can rise up depending on what you're doing. They're physical energy, mental energy, emotional energy, and spiritual energy. Within spiritual energy, that can be described as your work ethic. It can be described as your inner motivation. It can be described as your moral energy and your proclivity to do what's right versus what's wrong. It can also be described as presence. And then within presence, just this question that I've received in a workshop and done as an experiment, how would you want someone to feel who's met you for the first time and who is literally just going somewhere and sitting right next to you? I leave you with that question. Delighted to be here with you today. See you next time. Tomorrow on our program, we're going to do a complete switch from presence to play. We have our guest Sherry Fisher with us talking about play. How can we play more? And even how can we be a more playful person if someone were coming and sitting next to us? How might they feel playful afterwards? Thank you for being with us. See you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Pacific. All the best.